I am John Ford, and this is Brace for Impact from Organizing for Better Tomorrow. We are here on this wonderful April day, I guess. Is that a thing? Do we say wonderful April day anymore? It's just everything so tragic and on fire, I'm supposed to say. It's the end of the world, folks, and we're here to stream about it. No, it's April
You can say it
16th.
if you want to.
Thanks, Jess. So it's April 16th, and I believe I wanted to start with it's on the tip of my tongue, and we're gonna get to this thing. But it turns out the blockade of a blockade worked out exactly as I thought it would. And we're gonna get to that in a little bit. Also, I get to I started yesterday, or not yesterday's, earlier this week's show, talking about how I got the California governor's race wrong, and saying I got it wrong. Well, I get to take that back because apparently I actually got it right based on the current level of polling. But we're getting into that in a little bit too. But the big one is Anna Liliameha in New Jersey 11, who was Bernie's political director, has won her special election tonight, which we were very excited about.
Yay!
Yay! We were very excited about when we were discussing this when her primary happened, and we get to do this again because she's gonna have another primary. What is it, in June? Is that right?
Yeah, it's June.
June. So we get to do this all over again. So there's two ways to look at this. You could be like, oh, they have to run that election again, or you could be like, we get the joy of feeling like we won one more time. But anyone that says that progressive candidates can't win, I think they're just trying to hold back progress. You got to really just ignore that and channel all this energy. I think people talk about how the No Kings protests aren't very effective, and I think there's an argument to be made there, but the effects of getting all those people together to stand up for whatever they feel is true, because the whole thing, the way fascism and all these things work is they try to make you feel like you're just such a small part of nothing. You're tiny, and the thing is, the minority is always trying to make the majority feel like the minority, the smaller party. And when you see those protests, and you see even when they weren't protests, some of them were just like a parade, it doesn't matter. They all have their own level of effectiveness in how they bring people together and inspire them. And we see it in the turnout on this election, because not only did Meha win, she absolutely, what's the right word? What's the right phrase? Just destroyed. Shellacked. Yeah. You could turn yourself up a little bit, Jesse. Just, you could be a little bit, maybe, I think. We were trying to get sound levels out from last call, and I think I was too quiet. But then again, you, the listener, just leave a comment, tell you what said. And don't forget, if you like our content, give it a like, give it a follow. It's interesting that, people get wrapped up in things and they forget to like it on their way out. So if you're in here listening, just take a second and pop that like button. Everybody seems to... I don't know what's the right thing. It seems like you have to remind people about that still, and that's okay. I'm okay with that. So Anna Lilia, beautiful name. Winning is just...
Yeah.
I mean,
it's great to have another representative in Congress that's for Medicare for all and abolishing ICE, and that it means something.
Yeah, I think it also it shows that they're also not fringe opinions. I feel like we're on a lot of a lot of people who we would call the establishment are always trying to make it sound like these are unpopular positions. I had someone say to me that she was at risk of losing the district because it was just the governor, the former or the now governor, who had just won that seat, who
Mikey Sherrill,
right, who had just taken it from a Republican, I believe. So establishment-y neoliberal type Democrats were saying oh well, putting a progressive like this in there this way is just risking us losing the seat because their positions are so unpopular. And obviously that is not demonstrated in the results tonight, and I think we're going to see these in the results for the rest of the year, because this election is going to be a standard bearer for how much people support these positions. And it's just they ran on a clear progressive platform. And this is, I think, when we talk about progressivism versus leftism, I think there is a big distinction, and a lot of people talk about them as if they're synonymous, but really when you're talking about progressivism, there's a plan, there's a strategy, there's a winning elections and taking over the party. That's the progressivism. The leftism is more Like, and there's nothing wrong with feeling this way. I'm like just saying, like, you can feel however you feel, but be honest with yourself about the level of change you can expect from it. You know, when you talk about leftism, there isn't a good platform, there isn't clear leadership. It's a lot of podcasters who are trying to drive the wedge, and a lot of third party sort of stuff, which, I mean, young people, I was a young person once falling for third party. It was me too. I fell for it once, boss. It's true though. It was, you know, there's a good video on one of the interviews where I'm arguing with somebody over the validity of the Green Party, and that's a story for another time. But that video exists. Am I telling on myself right now? I feel like I'm telling on myself. But that brings us around to the California governor's race. Yeah, what a mess. What a total mess. Luckily, we're going to follow this with something that is still slightly large. We're doing this call in order of messes, actually. So we start with the not a mess, and now we're in a mess. So
Hope you make it to the end of the show.
it's more and more of a mess. Thank you, Jesse. So you're looking at Swalwell was in the race holding he was breaking through the polling into the top two, which the big problem is, if you don't know, in the California governor's race, it's something called the jungle primary, which is on the list of worst named things ever. But anyways, it's called the jungle primary. It's a terrible name. But the idea is whoever the top two vote getters is, go on. So it doesn't matter if it's two Republicans or two Democrats. So the Republicans have been kind of trying to make this move to get Swalwell as the top two, or a Republican as the top two, either by releasing this damaging info they had on Swalwell at the right time. And we actually were talking about on the show, we have some theory about that's why Pam Bondi was fired, because he kind of got ear on, like, somehow Swalwell found out about stuff early, and it was all kind of at the same time. You never really know. We're just shooting in the dark over here. So is Trump, so we're doing better. Honestly, I think we have a better rate of success. Much better. We don't try to blockades. I found out that is just a double negative, and ships flow freely. Anyways, Swalwell was commanding about 14% of the vote, and when he dropped out, it was basically whoever was going to pick that up. And if it was, you have who are the candidates again, Jesse? I'm totally blank. So we have the billionaire.
One that you were correct about was Becerra.
Right.
That you thought you were wrong about last week, but you were actually right that he still does hold some weight in this.
So what happened was we expected the vote to split between the two candidates, basically. It was Steyer and the woman whose names I cannot remember for some reason. Katie Porter. I should write it down on a piece of paper, because I forgot it like 3 times last show, and actually just is ridiculous. Because I saw a TikTok on this one. The guy was like, if it was 2017, I would be all over Katie Porter's campaign. But it's not 2017, and I feel differently about it in general. And that's something I've seen like a lot of places. But she still has like enough of a vote lock-in from her Senate campaigns and her congressional races that she is commanding, like, because it's divided so much, she's pulling a little bit of weight. But the problem is here is that Swalwell, we were hoping that it was going to break down into Steyer or Porter, and you'd get a clear winner. And instead, it seems like it all broke for Becerra. And that's what I thought would happen, because you're talking about Swalwell was the establishment candidate. He was an AIPAC candidate. He was all those things. And Becerra, I don't know if he's taking AIPAC money or anything, but he is the establishment neoliberal. I worked in the Biden administration. The Biden administration.
So it's natural that people that were going for another candidate
Swalwell,
like that would end up going for the other candidate like that, Becerra.
Exactly. So that's why I always thought Becerra was the one to beat in this race. But I didn't know about Swalwell's. I wasn't really paying attention to the race that well. But Swalwell, there's always something up with that dude. So like whenever, I just never took it seriously. Like I never took it seriously. He just has like a vibe. I don't know how to. I mean, obviously we know now, but I mean, he always had a vibe. You're just like, that makes you like a good candidate or not. You know what I mean? He's also an AIPAC candidate, so they usually have drama because it's like power is really corrupting. Like I feel like this is the place where you see the power that these groups give these politicians to make them feel so invincible, and then they go on to do stunts like this and create victims. So it's like enabling these people is, even if they're not bad people to start, it's just that power, that amount of power just is people don't handle it well. It's the whole Star Wars good versus bad side, and how people learn about the Force and they get enveloped by the dark side because it's so powerful. And that's, I mean, it's literally that metaphor. Or I guess it'd be an allegory, right? That's an allegory. Anyways, governor's race is a whole hot mess. I feel like, I don't know. Does you have any predictions? Anyone have any predictions on what they think is going to happen with this thing? I'd love to hear it.
Not really, but we just can't let them, sabotage this into, a Republican somehow landing in our lap.
Yeah.
I mean, that's my main sort of feeling about it.
Yeah, that is my main feeling about it too. I feel like it's going to come down to the next couple of weeks, and then people dropping out. I feel like Becerra is going to be. I think what's going to happen is you're going to start seeing the news media start talking about Becerra's surge in the polls, and they're going to create the perception that people are rallying around him as the we all need to consolidate, and he is the for the public of California. Not my personal vote. I don't really honestly have a horse in this race. I feel like they're
that's the problem. I wish we did have a horse in this race.
But he represents. I know that's what a lot of progressive people are saying. I could tell you a whole at one point when I was successful in California politics, people were trying to get me to run in these type of races like a progressive. It was a whole. I have so many stories on this whole period. That's what actually things got really bad for me, was when people were suggesting that, and I was like, obviously that's not. I try to do a nice show. So, but it did. It was a lot of drama at the time. It was a whole thing. But we don't have a horse in this race, and Padilla, not Padilla. I did it again. Becerra represents status quo, which is not a bad status quo, but it's not a great status quo. If you're into Medicare for all or human issues or human rights or just anything that's progressive, he doesn't really represent that. He's corporate neoliberalism, but it's still better than a Republican winning. So if we had two Republicans and the choice is between two Republicans being in the thing or Becerra, I mean that's not even a choice. So we'll see, how this is going to play out. But I think we're just going to see whoever drops out of the race next. Whoever feels like they're trailing, which will probably be Porter, she'll drop out, and then whoever's Porter's people go through, they're going to pick the winner. So Porter has the chance here to be a kingmaker on the Democratic ticket, because I don't think either Democrat has a position unless all the Porter voters jump behind Becerra. I don't see Becerra getting enough to have a clear victory over Steyer. Steyer's still keeping an advantage, and he has a lot of commercials going, and he does represent in those commercials a more progressive point of view. He is selling that, whether or not it's true or not. We can argue all day, but that's what he's selling in those commercials. So I could see in this wave of progressive democratic sort of platform coming to life, I could see him winning on that notion alone. So it's really Becerra to catch up, but that just comes down to how the establishment uses the news and how well the news media jumps behind who. Because in California, the news and elections is wild. I said it last call, but in the 2016 primary, we had them call the primary for Hillary the day before the election. That's unusual. Let's just say they do dirty stuff, and now that news is controlled by fewer and fewer people, and so you just you never know. I don't know. Also, getting behind Becerra, if it's the Republican news media, getting behind Becerra will help to continuously divide the Democratic vote, and so it'll be harder and harder for them to get ahead of the two Republicans. So, and then you also have the big undecided vote. So it's a mess. It's a total mess, because I was really hoping, and I think a lot of us were hoping, that them getting out of the race would open it up for one and give us a clear victory, and it just made it worse. Which is just so California. Being from California, man, there's nothing more California than that.
Hopefully Steyer ends up actually being a class traitor, and he becomes.
Yeah, it's weird that you're I need you to Benedict Arnold. The other guys, though, are you ready? The other guys. I mean, he kind of already has gone class traitor in that sense, just by pushing the agenda he has. But I have no idea. The thing with Tom, like I'd never met him, but I've been around people who do know him a bunch, and I've been like kind of like one step away from his campaign when he was doing it, and it's just. I feel like he just really wants Bernie Sanders to like him.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that's, like, way too much of his drive, but maybe that works out for us, Like, he really wants Bernie to like him. And I feel like that's way more of his political drive than people want to realize or accept. Which,
We shall see.
Yeah, we shall see. So I said, we had a bigger mess after that mess, which is, But Pete Hegseth misquoted both the Bible and Pulp Fiction.
He quoted Quentin 1994. The Bible verse, Quentin 1994.
Yeah. Man, I went to a Catholic high school, and we had to go through. I did this scene when I wasn't supposed to one time, and it was a whole thing on like looking it up, and like I was a kid at the time, so of course it's not in there. But as a kid, I was like, I should check the Bible, just to check, because we did have Bible classes, so we had a Bible, and no, it turns out it's not in there.
I'm unsure of what he was like. I guess it's something that was given to him.
He thought it would sound cool.
He was saying about it. It came from one of the what is the name of the pilot? There's a specific name of the pilot that I have a clip of it if you want to hear it.
Yeah, sure, go.
Which leads me finally to a prayer that I'll read, which was also handed to me a couple of days ago, delivered from the lead mission planner of Sandy 1. Sandy 1 were the A-10s that were a part of the daylight rescue mission of 44 Alpha, Dude 44 Alpha out of Iran. And if you know anything about Sandys, their job is to bring those A-10s and put them in between the enemy and that down pilot. And so their job is to literally sacrifice themselves for someone else. And in Iran, in contested territory, that's exactly what they did. They call it Caesar 25:17, which I think is meant to reflect Ezekiel 25:17.
Well, there's this passage I got memorized, sort of fits this occasion. Ezekiel 25:17.
The path of the downed aviator
The path of the righteous man
is beset on all sides
is beset on all sides
by the iniquities of the selfish and the tyranny of evil men.
by the iniquities of the selfish and the tyranny of evil men.
And I will strike down upon thee with
And I will strike down upon thee with
great vengeance and furious anger
great vengeance and furious anger
those who attempt to capture and destroy my brother.
those who attempt to poison and destroy my brother.
And you will know my call sign
And you will know my name
is Sandy 1
is the Lord
when I lay my vengeance.
when I lay my vengeance upon thee.
And amen.
Amen. So what do you think?
I mean, I don't know if that's better or worse. I don't know at this point. I think it's just like,
Does he know what he was? I mean, he doesn't know the
know.
reference, but he claims to be a Christian, so he probably should know Bible verses. But
Well, he knew
Christian.
when he said when he said what the beginning, like where he said it came from.
Something.
Yeah,
Mhm.
like it came from it. I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to say on this, because I oh, man, there's just so many levels of I have a problem with this.
Yeah.
Like, there are so many levels. He was also giving out like call signs and coded like
And on the heels
I
of
mean,
all the
there's-
Pope drama, it's like,
Oh my god, we didn't even get to that. I don't even think we put the Pope drama on her. I gotta say, JD Vance is the. I don't know if the balls. Would we say ballsy? Most courage. I don't say courage and make it sound like a good thing. You know what I mean? Because this is dumb. He said that when the Pope should be more careful when he talks about matters of theology.
Oh, thanks, Vice President.
And I don't think there is ever a more like
Inappropriate.
what's the thing, confidently wrong.
Okay. Yeah.
Confidently wrong. Like so confidently wrong. That he was like the matters of theology. Like, as I said earlier in the show, I did go to Catholic high school, and one of the few things I did, I'm not a religious person, at any point before or after, don't ask, long story. Point is that the whole thing they teach you is that the Pope is infallible in matters of theology, and they treat the Pope like the Constitution, in the sense that the Pope makes religion fluid, like a fluid document on what to believe and what is true, based on what God has told him at that point. Because the Pope speaks to God, is what they taught us, and obviously that's, I don't know. I mean, I guess everyone.
And
or
JD's
God
a new
speaks to.
convert.
What's that?
JD's a new convert.
Well,
so, like,
if
it's not
he
like-
thinks if he thinks Trump is God, then maybe he's thinking he is like the Pope talking
Wow.
for God. Just saying.
Yeah.
Something to think about.
we are living through some weird times. That's for sure.
Yeah. It's like people are like, did it kick in yet? Did the drugs kick in yet? And like, you didn't take any drugs, and you're like, oh.
No, things really are just that weird.
They really are. And honestly, this show does not get any less weird as we continue down this train, because we kind of already talked about Trump and Iran, and you can't blockade a blockade because you have to convince the leaders of those ships to commit war crimes, right? Like, how do you enforce a blockade? It's not like Avatar: The Last Airbender when the ships line up, face to front, like making an actual physical wall. Like, that's not how the ocean works. You can't have the boats touch each other. Like, they have to be a safe distance away, and like boats can just go between that. So unless you're prepared to enforce with violence and take civilian ships and turn them into, never mind. No, the people, unless Hegseth is pushing the button with a tomahawk, they're not. Which is just, I mean, it just, even if you wanted to, if it was okay to do it, it's so expensive. Like, it's so expensive. If nothing else, if you don't care about the human life, it's such an expensive way to kill people. Don't kill people, but just also don't waste money. Anyways,
I don't really know what they were thinking with that. If they were, I mean, it wouldn't put it past them to do anything at this point. Like,
but the thing is, you need those ship captains to be willing to draw fire on civilian ships, and following orders is not there's been so much talk about how following illegal orders right now.
They've already followed illegal orders with the fishermen.
Right. But those are more like, they've been doing those airstrikes from like ships, or like the things, like the people, like there's only a couple of people in that chain of command, and Hegseth was there for a lot of it, doing whatever. So like the chain of command is very short in that situation. When you have admirals, or I don't know who's in charge of these boats. I'm not up on the military rankings, but whoever's in charge of the boat, captain, right? That person has a chain of command to fire those missiles. And there are a lot of people who are going to be objectors because these are illegal orders and you're committing war crimes. So like, how many, like if it's just like 2 or 3 people, you can war crimes. If it takes like 10, 15 people, probably not. And that's sort of just why we set it up that way. It's literally why it's set up that way. Like, why do we have so many ranks and such a chain of command and such a thing? Because literally for this.
It's just, nothing would surprise me at this point. They've committed already so many war crimes.
No, I think Trump is really lost his, like, he's been like defanged. I think firing Pam Bondi was really like, because he made all of his people vulnerable. There's a scene in the new, and we're supposed to be boycotting the boys, so of course I didn't see this, but there's a scene with Homelander where everyone's freaked out because he's like killed a bunch. They find out he like killed a bunch. Spoilers. They find out he killed a bunch of people. So all the people around him are like afraid of him randomly killing, and he is randomly killing people. He's totally losing his mind. But he's like watching people's heart race whenever they get near him, and he's just like, ugh, everyone's hearts are freaking out. Why is everyone panicking? Yeah, because they're afraid you're gonna kill him. And I feel like Trump used to have that feeling because he had like all this power, and he sort of like lost it all because like he keeps getting stopped. Like, fascists don't get stopped. Like, if you're going to be like a real fascist and not just like cosplaying as one, you don't just stop because a judge told you to stop. And that's what everyone was kind of waiting for. But now the judges are telling them to stop. And hopefully we get a good birthright ruling from the judges that like makes sense for the Constitution. That hasn't happened yet. I feel like I would have heard about that already. We're waiting on the birthright ruling, which is like the most clear, easiest, you know, all one, like the Constitution can be not more clear on this issue. It's ridiculous we've been debating it. But I feel like a year ago, Trump had the kind of power that it got it to be worth debating. And I feel like now he doesn't have the power to get it through.
Like the bully's getting deflated.
Yeah. I don't think, and I do think the No Kings protests are playing a big factor in it, and then the judges standing up against them, and it's sort of created a like chain of events, and then the Epstein files, and then going to war with Iran, and then illegal wars. I mean, that's impeached right
These
there.
tariffs getting overturned.
Yeah, and then he's also like the whole thing with Israel at the same time, like one weird benefit of this that I feel like people don't want to talk about because it's kind of, you know, not great to talk about, but here we are doing the dirty work. You know, Trump has taken Israel down with him because Netanyahu is all emboldened to do all this maniacal stuff, and it's not like he has Joe Biden protecting him now. Now he's got Trump trying to commit war crimes too, because it seems like his friend is getting away with it.
Yeah,
So,
it's like it's a chicken and egg situation with those
Right.
two.
Right.
What's
And
going on?
Well, I just feel like it's a little bit of a keeping up with the Joneses, but with murder.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's like, I see him doing it. Why can't I get away with it? So, like, I feel like Trump doesn't like the idea that someone else is getting away with more than he is. So he has to do those things and get away with them too in order to be like the top dog. That's like his competitive edge. Apparently includes war crimes and genocides. I mean,
And quite a few people who voted for him are not interested in that side of things.
well, quite a few people are, but not enough to be, you know, to keep you in power. And that's the whole thing of like how like you would have like, so people talk about the fascist takeover and relate a lot to Nazi Germany, and you would have had some sort of like night of the long knives where all the people like we're kind of seeing like a version of it in a way, and how Trump is going after like the podcasters and the Pope and like anyone that stands against him who he doesn't think he needs anymore to be in power. We're seeing like a really soft version of it. Like if he was a real fascist, like those people would be dead.
Right.
Like that's the thing that I think that like everyone forgets. Like they would be dead.
Yeah. They've only killed a couple of people in the streets so far.
And they have killed a couple of people, and but I'm talking about like targeted killings of individual people who are against you to silence dissenting voices. Dissenting, not dissenting.
Yeah. Taking out opposition.
Yeah, and that's what the long knives was. We don't need you anymore. You know, all the gay Nazis who were helping Nazis get into power. And that's an example of a group who was in that sort of piling. So
Yeah.
they're like they're with you until they're not. So we're seeing like a soft version of that, and that he's sort of like floundering, and you know we're gonna see the Supreme Court come out against him. And also like the SAVE Act is not going anywhere. Like they've tried everything, and they can't get enough people to remove because the thing is the way the SAVE Act is the idea would institute such a level of like voting fascism that you really wouldn't need the filibuster anymore, because everyone would be whoever you wanted to be, because you could pick and choose who could vote, basically. You know what I mean? So like it would like if that went through, we'd be in a lot of trouble. And I feel like even the Republicans who are like ultra fascist conservatives walked up to that line and were like, but hey, this would take away my power too. Do you know what I'm saying? So like maybe they support the idea of it and they're bad people, but like when they actually walked up to, okay, we're gonna do it, they're like, oh wait, but now I don't get my kickbacks anymore.
Yeah. It's like they want that world, but they want it with like some dream benevolent dictator, not a Trump. Like not what he's doing.
Yeah. I think that's so true. It's like yeah, it's so true.
Because they love that stuff. They they've set up like the unitary executive, and they've always wanted the president to be the all powerful one.
Right.
You know. But
Well, I think pivoting down a little bit more, we're seeing, speaking of, what was the word you used? You were saying the benevolent leaders.
Yeah,
we dropped down to Health and Human Services. because RFK was in another conference today. We actually had to stop, and I don't know how to talk about this because it's a sensitive subject, but we had to stop and talk about whether or not he was shaking in his debate. And I pulled up a clip from the beginning, and I was like, see, he's shaking vertically instead of horizontally. So instead of like normally you see somebody shaking, and like if you ever seen somebody who's like trying to cover up that they have the shakes, they kind of do this thing. Michael J. Fox used to do it, where you have this like move where he'd hide his shakes. It looked really cool doing it. Honestly, it was cool. It was always cool until it wasn't. But he's always shown us the how important to understand the diseases. But he has a vertical shaking where he's like when he's talking. I don't know if that came through on the mic, but
Maybe it's nervousness.
What's that?
Maybe it's nervousness, like because things are kind of falling apart.
Maybe it's handling dead raccoon penises.
Or that, yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I could be. I'm actually starting to wonder because he's really big on. Which, by the way, that's a real story that really happening. I'm not just making up that grotesque thing. That's a real thing. Which I explained some grotesque what the followed. I'm not gonna do it on this show. Get the call in trouble. But like, we went through like what was happening in that scene, and that is a messy adventure. That is not a clean like. I'm walking away. You did that barehanded. Like, oh man. Those kids come back, it's just bloody hands. Like, come on. Anyways, I don't need that visual. But
when I was a kid, I had a lucky rabbit's foot, and now looking back on it, and I thought that was kind of disgusting.
I did too. They gave them away in some contest we did as a kid selling magazines or something. I had it forever.
And they'd like dye them different colors.
I was against those.
Yeah, until I saw a real rabbit, and I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
No.
I'm just wondering, is this a lucky raccoon's penis?
Yeah,
Don't tell me he has a keychain of it.
Donna, do you want to share what you thought it was all about? Donna, I don't know if Donna's stuck around. I should check. No. Okay.
No comment.
No comment. Donna had the best. I'm giving her credit for it at least. She unmuted herself for a second. I saw that, Donna. She said she thought it was a prank. He was going to pull a prank on somebody because apparently he has a weird dead animals. He thinks dead animals are good for pranks, and
maybe that's why he wears his jeans all the time. He's like hiding a bunch of dead animal parts under them.
I don't think that's what's happening, Jesse. I don't think that's what's happening. No, I'm gonna go with no. I'm gonna go with no on that one. Someone accused me of getting a little too conspiratory on the show, and that's a good example. That is too far, sir. Yeah, well, he's just such a weird habit of it. But that when he left the meeting, somebody got him in person and asked him about the raccoon penis specifically, and it just, I feel like he liked being asked the question more than he was ashamed of it. I don't know. I feel like it's like he's just saying the more absurd stuff he tells us about himself, the less we talk about the actual real problems of what's happening. But I should say, it also kind of looks like he's being deflated because the new CDC director nomination, I don't know. I think it looks kind of reasonable. It's definitely not from the cast of the Looney Tunes like the rest of them have been.
Yeah. Erica Schwartz. She's what was Biff, you probably know a little bit more about her off the top of your head, right?
Yeah, so it seems like she has a pretty normal public health career. She served many years at the Coast Guard in charge of their public health, essentially. And she instituted several vaccination programs when she was there, like I think smallpox was one of them. And she was the branch's principal expert on pandemic influenza. And then after that, she served 2 years as Deputy Surgeon General under Jerome Adams in Trump's first term. And he's pretty widely regarded as like a, he was qualified for the position, and I don't think many people on either side of the aisle have any problems with him. So that was a good administration.
Jerome's on Twitter.
Yeah, all in all, it just seems like she's had a completely normal public health career, which isn't the type of person that we'd expect this administration to pick for the job. But I just think that speaks to all the losses that they've been getting lately in court and in the court of public opinion, and that's what led us to where we're at right now.
Yeah, it did seem like we were down to the wire, that we were right about that 210-day thing too.
Like
That
they had to
were down-
nominate somebody.
Yeah, that they had to. Trump had to put somebody forward. So she'll still have to go through it before the help committee and get, confirmed.
It cracks
But-
me up
Right.
that the bottom of the barrel candidate for them is somebody who is just like qualified enough. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, you know what I mean? They're not going into like the really super qualified candidates. They're like, it's like so like backwards. The whole thing of like, well, I guess we can let them. They're, they're not too bad, but they're just like qualified.
They've already gone through like their whole list of anti-vaxxers. So
There's literally nobody.
all
else.
right, I guess we're gonna have to bring somebody who's qualified. All defeated.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Oh my god.
But I wonder if this opens up the door for the bill, the Blunt Rochester's bill with ACIP.
I don't.
probably-
I don't know what's going on with the ACIP right now because they did change the charter rules around, which is something we talked about that they could do. There's nothing stopping them from changing the charter. We were like, how often does the charter get done, and do they have total control over it? And it looks like the HHS Secretary does have control over changing the charter, but the changes they made were not like gonna let these guys that they had on the ACIP before back on ACIP. Like those guys still don't meet the charter requirements. Like you could be overlapping, and I do feel like it's a good fix in the sense that there are other voices that should be able, but they still need to be qualified voices. Like they're just qualified in more expansive fields, and I feel like that could be good. So I don't feel like it's as bad as everyone's saying, but I definitely keep an eye on it because I trust these guys about as far as I can throw a dead raccoon. Yeah.
You could probably throw its penis further than the.
Oh, I bet you can't. I bet you can't. I bet you can't. I bet you can't. I don't want to. I don't want to get into the dynamics of that. But no. Anyways,
Who does that? Like, why do you?
apparently RFK, the person in charge of our health and human services and how we protect ourselves from disease in America. I'm just saying the bar is very low for the next HHS director. Like whoever comes in is like,
Yeah.
well, do you like playing with dead animals as practical jokes?
How do you feel about roadkill?
When you look at roadkill, do you think this is an opportunity?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Great.
That's
Oh no, you don't have that feeling. You're
nope,
in.
perfect, done, stamp. Thank God, finally, the bar is very low. Oh my! I think it's an actual bar where they serve alcohol. Actually, at this point, it's just like I can't even with this. So the CDC director thing is a refreshing little spin on it.
Yeah.
We did something I want to talk about. I'm going to talk about this really fast because it's not always everyone's favorite topic. But we did get another study because RFK said Tylenol causes autism. That's stupid. Not only I don't think anything you can say anything causes autism. It's largely biological, but or hereditary. But the idea is that autism became a very large spectrum, and because of that, there are narrow spectrums of it that could be environmental. They're just parts. They're just parts. So not the whole autism. So anytime anyone says something causes autism, be quiet. Be quiet. But it's kind of like long COVID in the same sense that long COVID is this huge spectrum. And so when someone says something cures long COVID, you have to say it cures some of long COVID, or it helps certain people, or because you're still talking about subsets, and it gets very, very complicated. Especially when you include ME/CFS, which it should be complicated. So it shouldn't be simplified. We should teach people how to understand it properly. So the same thing is true of how autism works and what might be causing it, and in the narrow subsects that are environmental, right? And so we get this study from Harvard where heavy users of Tylenol had correlative evidence, not causative, correlative, which means it's just there's a signal, right? That's basically what we say. Where there's something there where pregnant people who took a ton of Tylenol were more likely to have kids on the autism spectrum. And again, you're talking autism spectrum, which is a very wide, some of it's hereditary, some of it's looking for environmental malformations of the brain and how that might have been impacted by certain things. And so Tylenol is, so we get a new study today, by the way, we get a new study from Denmark, right? And I had a bunch of hypotheses about this, but we'll get to that in a second, because the Denmark study actually is really great, because it's totally safe to use. They use paracetamol, or something, they have a different name for it, but it's acetaminophen. We call it Tylenol here. It's totally safe to use during pregnancy. And they even had a committee titanium dioxide in their food, because it's known to cause things similar. I actually did more research on this, and we found more data showing that it is associated with like brain malformations and other types of issues when it's in super high amounts, because of something called nanoparticles. And the nanoparticles cross the placenta blood barrier, so they're getting into the baby. We know they're getting into the baby, and this is why they banned it in foods, because it's doing this crossover. And so so what am I trying to say here? So they did another committee to prove that it was necessary in these drugs, because I'm still a little unclear on it, but I trust the committee's follow through, because they were banning it, and they said in pharmaceuticals it's totally safe, and it does do a certain thing. Maybe we can figure out a better way to do it, but it has to do with how the drugs release and how they break down your system, and we can get into that. But as far as I'm concerned, that should be totally safe, and the study from Denmark showed that. So this stuff is totally safe. RFK is once again shown to be a total moron. And I found it interesting too when I was researching this. I found that the person who wrote the original study for Harvard was talking to RFK personally, trying to explain why he was saying it wrong, and he still couldn't get it. Which, I don't know if that's like weaponized incompetence, or like he just couldn't get it, or like I don't know what. I have no idea. Honestly, I have no idea what this man. Jeans in a hot tub. I don't even know. I don't know. But we shouldn't throw the baby out with the bathwater. If you're not familiar with the term baby out with the bathwater, it's because in the old days you'd have one bath for the whole family, and the baby would get bathed last. And so you would throw out all the water and make sure you don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, which is, at that point, the baby's not even getting clean. It's just getting soaked in everyone else's juice. It's gross. It's gross.
So the baby could be lost down there somewhere.
Yeah, basically. Right. And so when you have a good piece of something in with bad stuff, don't throw out the good piece just because there's bad stuff. That's what that means. So, like, even though RFK is like a necrophile? I don't know. Is that what she is? Is it animal? I feel like, is that automatic sex, or is he just into it? I'm not sure. Actually, I should look that up before I go any further with that. Point is that there is this titanium dioxide overlap, where there is titanium dioxide in the Tylenol, and titanium dioxide is in a bunch of foods as artificial coloring. And so we haven't banned it here, and we allow it by 1% by weight. So I'm not really going to give up on this, because we actually do have data showing it causes the thing we're looking for. Like, we know in Europe, for example, they know that it causes these changes in brain development. And in America, that could end up on the autism spectrum. So there is something to argue there that we should get rid of this, and it might stop some of that. I think that, like, there's nothing wrong with autism. I don't feel like there's anything. But if you care about COVID affecting babies' brains prenatal, I feel like we should care about anything that might be affecting brains in that position. I feel like it shouldn't just be like COVID maxing, trying to make COVID seem as scary as possible. It's like, we got plenty of shit to be scared about, and this is just something to add to the pot, which I feel like it's not the first time we've had a drug or a chemical that like ends up giving a baby claw hands or something. What was it called, Terry? What was the name? The one that gave the claw hands?
She stepped down, I think.
Oh, right. Well, say it one more time for me.
Oh, that was thalidomide.
Thalidomide, right. Thank you. Yeah. Oh, Terry had to dip out. It got late on her. We started late, so she always has this. It's like she's working and busy. It's totally fine. Thank you, Donna and Jesse. So yeah. So I don't want I don't want people to be like, oh, Tylenol's totally safe. It's not causing. If you took Tylenol when you were pregnant, it did not cause any problems. This is not what we're looking at. But we are trying to figure out. Is there something in our food that we should be getting rid of that is known to cause problems? And we were talking about this, and Jesse even had a package. You're kind of a healthy person, and you saw in your package they had a no titanium dioxide like stamp on it, which is like part of their marketing.
Right.
So
right along with gluten free and no red dye, it was the no titanium dioxide.
Yeah, I really think the titanium dioxide is the biggest one of those three, but I guess you just it's all the things at once. I'm not sure about the red dye. I really want to research that more. I'm so confused. We market it as different places. So people are like, oh, we don't have it there, but they call it something else. It's just that one. I understand what they say. It makes the kids' ADHD worse is the argument.
I don't really know seems weird to just artificially add color when it's not there, but like, I don't just feel like it's necessary.
I don't know. I think it was the one thing about RFK I was kind of looking forward to was like maybe he was going to get some of this stuff out of our foods. But, every silver linings of a cloudy day, if you will. But
I noticed Doritos came out with a no dyes version of Doritos. And I saw it in the store and I was like,
yeah, I almost got tricked into buying them. And I was like, you're not getting me back. I did. I stared at the package for like a good minute at the grocery store the other day. Not a minute, it's probably 40 seconds. But, and I really was like, but it'll still be bad for you. Still blow your diet.
Right.
I told myself.
They just don't have the same color and get all over your fingers in the same way.
Right,
I got 'em.
That's the only difference. You got him?
I got them. Yeah.
Donna couldn't resist.
They were on sale at BJ's. They were on sale, so it was like
I did
they
as
were
well.
cheaper
but
than like the
got
store brand.
I got the Cheetos version personally, and
Ooh,
yeah, they tasted the same.
This is not an advertisement.
Cheetos with no orange fingers.
Yeah. They call them naked. Well, I think it's supposed to be naked because it's NK. What is it? NKD.
Right.
Yeah, I think so.
Sounds like a
Not
serial
that this is-
killer.
not that this is-
Sounds like someone who like strangles people in the night. NKD.
Ah. The notorious NKD.
The notorious NKD. And they're like, the N stands for notorious. You're being redundant. Oh, my ATM machine. No, this is yeah, well, this is not an ad, but we do have space for ads, so I guess just what are we going to learn about why we're supposed to be boycotting this company? Someone's going to get mad at us. You're not boycotting them. I am, sir, ma'am.
Yeah, I think Frito-Lay. It's not a great company.
They're all owned by.
I think they probably are on the boycott list. Actually.
Yeah, probably. There's just not that much stuff at the grocery store, guys. I hate to break it to you, they're all owned by the same 7 evil companies. Like, is there a good one? Probably not. I think that's like when you're in capitalism. Like, in order to succeed in capitalism, you have to be willing to exploit workers. So, like, just in the thing of existing in capitalism, which is a necessary part of like functionality in our system, which is really what you're fighting when you're trying to like make the world better. You know, in any way, you have to make it somehow fit into capitalism. Which is weird. It's not a good feeling. And it's like, if you're not willing to exploit those people, so just by the nature of like being on the store shelf, they're probably exploiting labor.
Yeah.
So,
There's always exploitation in every product.
ooh! I got some new exploitation. I got a new word for everybody. I don't know if this isn't picked up yet, but I want to pick up. So, AI, right? AI is out of control. Sam Altman's house is getting firebombed. There's like the guy who shot it up said he was like trying to save the world, or the guy who threw the Molotov cocktail. Well, one of them got caught. The guy who shot it got caught, I think. So he's trying to save the world from AI. And I don't think that the violence is the answer until it is the only answer. Which, by the way, I don't know if this is true or not, but there's been this big thing on TikTok where people are realizing that, and I have not looked this up, and I probably should before I talk. But I like the magic of maybe it is that the violence is never the answer is only half the quote, and the actual quote is violence is never the answer until it is the only answer. yeah, sit with that one, which is just like so many phrases we cut off that to make it more establishment-y, you know what I mean, and like okay to be whatever, like well, I can't think of any right now, but we've all heard them. They get cut short. The master, what's the one, the jack of all trades saying is actually much longer. There's a couple of these things, but the one is saying. But anyways, that's not what we want to talk about. So AI is showing us why we have to stop it from doing movies, because I think Val Kilmer's children are involved with bringing Val Kilmer back to life for a movie where he's playing both a younger version and an older version of him. So they're not like using a stand-in. They just generated him with AI. And it feels super weird. Super weird. It's not like Disney doing it for like Rogue One or something. It's like, ew.
I don't like it.
Yeah, I don't want this. So the phrase for when kids make money from their dead parents' likeness with AI is necro babies. Necro babies.
I like it.
I like it. I'm a big fan because that's a shameful term. The necro baby. Yeah, I know that one. The one who got famous using his dad's likeness on AI.
'Cause, yeah, they're being a Nepo baby with the death of their family member.
Yeah. Oh, why am I laughing? I'm not supposed to laugh at that.
Yeah, it's bad. I feel like people are gonna have to start putting this in their will that they do or they don't want their likeness used.
Well, James Earl Jones sold his voice to be Darth Vader to Disney, and I don't know if he's open to other things. And his family is going to get paid, and he was getting too old to do the voice. Like the last couple Darth Vader things he did were like, oh boy, sounded kind of rough there. And obviously, other people heard that too. That's about the limit on how I think likenesses should be like used post-mortem. Like that's it, Darth Vader. Because I don't think anyone we could rely on to be James Earl Jones' voice. His voice was like really special and unique, and like what they do with Darth Vader is really special and unique. And the versions they've done since are like pretty good. Like it's a little different, but they'll figure it out. But I don't feel like you could recast Darth Vader. I was a big Star Wars fan when I was a kid. I don't really like where Star Wars went, but you know, as it is, that's like I said, that's the limit on what I think is. And I don't really think like it technically is AI, sort of, but he has like a huge catalog of work, and it's a little complicated. And of course, you say anything's complicated when it doesn't fit into your ideas. You like want an exclusion. You're like, it's complicated. But after that, I'm like, no, I don't want this. This is, especially when it's done like poorly. They're just doing it like.
I feel like it's just like stealing somebody's soul. Like, like every time, like you ever see those videos that people put out, like as soon as somebody dies, like maybe it's a musician or something, and then somebody will put out one of those videos where they're like meeting other musicians in heaven in an AI version. They just, it makes me sick every time something like that happens. Like they're killing the person again. That's just me.
Yeah, no, I feel that completely. You're just like, it's like they killed him again, right in front of me. Yeah, no, I
really find that so upsetting.
Yeah, I'm against it. I don't like the AI, bringing people back to life. Who, I mean, I don't like the AI. So here's the thing: I'm a SAG actor. I haven't paid SAG dues in a while, which I need to get up on, but because of the pandemic and all this stuff. But I am a SAG actor. It's Don Ford, SAG. Anyways, SAG-AFTRA. Anyway, point is that acting is really a craft, and like a lot of people, we get so used to actors just playing themselves in movies that you think AI could do this, right? And there probably are some examples that you could probably find like where that could happen because they've done so much work and they're mostly just playing themselves. But that's why those are just like jobs, right? Those are just like the jobs that these actors do to like pay the bill, their version of bills, which are much higher, obviously. Keep up with their lifestyle, and then they try to do like these like creative roles in the midst of it, where they like really put their thought into their craft and do something really creative, and those are the movies you really love. Like AI is soulless in that it can never recreate that thought process of like how to do it like the right way. Like I'm trained. How do you do? You have to break down the character. You go through their day. What led you to the position you're going to be right now, where you are giving these lines? Like where were you your whole day to make you in that position? Like you have to like, and it's not like the same as like, when you're like living the character, but you have to like bring all of that stuff into your thing. That's what makes the role not wooden, unless the character is meant to be wooden, and then great job with your acting choices. But generally speaking, an AI just can't create that, and so the Val Kilmer is just showing us, and they probably did it as cheaply as possible. They said they spent 7 minutes on it or something like that to get the image. That's what I read.
I don't think you can like program human emotions. Like
I don't know. A bunch of coders think they can, and I'm like, do you understand human emotions? And they're like, wait, when was the last time you saw or felt another human? Well, you're here, and you're like, oh my god.
You're like, yes, of course, I understand human emotions.
So my cousin directed Grandma's Boy, who does that robot character. my cousin Nick directed that movie where he does the "I am a robot" the whole time, like.
Oh, I just did that. I don't know that.
That was that was a movie that came out a couple years ago with my cousin. It was kind of had a cult classic sort of thing going on for a minute. My cousin Nick Goosen, who we do not talk at the moment, and they do this.
That guy.
What's that? Yeah, that guy. Heather works with him too. That brings Heather out of the woodwork. Anyways, yeah, he does a really funny character, and then that guy who does that character went on to be an Avatar. And pretty decent.
This robot character?
The guy who did like a robot, he plays like a computer engineer, data guy, like the game. He's supposed to be like the programmer of the games, like the coder, and he's like super weird. He like thinks he's trapped in the Matrix. It's a very funny character. So he did that voice. It was exactly the voice that he does. So it triggered me, and I was like, oh, the flashbacks.
Yeah.
I wasn't around for the filming
yeah.
of that, but I did go bowling with him once. And he and his girlfriend were fantastic. But that was like pre-Avatar. That was so long ago. They were really nice. We had a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not a fan of it.
No, not a fan of AI. Full circle. Yeah, and the Necro Babies. So we're going to make sure to shame them when they're making fun of making usage, too much money off their dad's image. I'm not sure if the Michael Jackson biopic falls under this, but I think we're going to let it go. Though that one is full of all kinds of problems because apparently they removed a lot of the controversial stuff.
They're doing a Michael Jackson biopic?
Yeah. Yeah, doing a Michael Jackson
but
biopic.
Not with AI.
No, I don't think so. Probably. Nowadays, honestly, I feel like we're going to be in a place right now real soon where you're going to have to put a stamp at, like, no generative... Because they say, keep in mind, just because it says no generative AI does not mean they didn't use AI somewhere. And me and my wife are having a debate about this because, we producing stuff and how you try to, like, could I do this project without AI? Like, should it happen? It's, like, the whole, like, ethical conversation about, like, well, what if you used it to, like, fix a shot? Or what if you used it to... like change a little thing, and you're just like, it kind of is just like, I feel like it becomes a slippery slope. But you'll see movies now that say, this movie used no generative AI, and I feel like that's a good place to start because you shouldn't generate something without artists. Like the artists should be there to generate whatever the thing is, and then if you want to touch something up, and that saves a lot of money, and it makes and you wouldn't have enough money to touch it up otherwise. I get it, but it's just like, but we're also at a point now where like everyone thought the woman from K-pop Demon Hunters was AI because the voice was like too amazing. So it's interesting to see how it's just interesting to see how the public's taking it because they don't seem like they're taking it very well. It doesn't seem like they're fighting against the data centers and they're fighting against like the usage, and they're shaming groups who like overuse it, and I feel like they're really trying to like, oh no, this is good, and we're just like, yeah, but it's, and then also there's this whole thing about Gen Z is the one that's being expected to drop in. Wow, that was my first drop in a couple weeks.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, it's been a while. Completely dropped out, like completely gone. Okay, well, anyways, pretty much made it to the end of the show, though. We're kind of just trailing off anyway, so if you're seeing this and you're on YouTube, thanks for following us on YouTube. Give us a follow. If you don't follow us on Twitter, please do that. Give us a like, because, it just helps people see it. Maybe, and hear me out, maybe you retweet this on Twitter, guys. I'm just saying, maybe I should say that before it's cut off on Twitter, right? Maybe I should start here. All right, that's it, guys. We're out of here. I will see everyone. We're here on Mondays and Thursdays around 7 p.m. We started a little late today, and we will be back. We'll get more Terry next time. We'll definitely start. If we start earlier, we get more Terry. That's what I always say is the episode. So, anything you want to throw out there, Jesse, before it was just illegitimate a couple times?
I don't want to talk more about Iran on the way out because it seems like a real downer, but
yeah,
we'll get to it.
Yeah, I kind of avoided the Iran topic right now because I feel like it's like very hard to tell where things are at the moment, and it's sort of like I feel by Monday we'll have a much clearer idea, and I'll make sure to give you like 20 minutes.
It's not over. That's all I wanted to say.
Oh no, it's not over. It's not over. We
The
just.
golden age of America is now.
Oh.
I'm just kidding.
Oh, it's a
I was
gold. Is
trying
it
to end
just?
on a pseudo
Or is
happy
someone
note.
just pissing who hasn't had enough water today? I'm not sure. So,